All right, all right. What's going on, Aztecs fans? Welcome to the Sons of Montezuma podcast. It is an NCAA tournament special because we're going dancing, guys. I got Fiend with me, fresh back from Las Vegas, and we're going to get into all the excitement, all the anticipation of what happened today. And we're going dancing, guys. So let's get the dancing shoes out. We'll see you guys in just a minute.
This the wins.
Shot clock running down. Clark inside of the left. It's a three, and it's off, and Neto has the...
Proud of our group. To make it to the NCAA tournament again is a tremendous accomplishment, especially due to the fact that we lost 90% of our scoring in minutes from a year ago. To have this young team come in, play with such heart and energy, and play their way into the NCAA tournament is a tremendous credit to them and the coaching staff I have here with me.
In the house tonight, Hoop squad on deck. Who's next to fight? We need a three. So who's your bet? Coach looking down.
Well, there you have it, guys. There you have it. Both men's and women's Aztecs basketball teams are going dancing. We want to welcome you guys back to another episode of the Sons of Montezuma podcast, of course. We are all Aztec.
I'm an Aztec warrior. Ah!
And I'm feeling good today. Guys. Thank you for joining. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button before you guys do anything else. I know it's a very busy evening. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. Oh, boy. He's back in town. Guess who's back? SD Sports Fiend back off the road. How are you doing?
Good, man. I feel like dancing to that music.
We were in Las Vegas. We're cutting a rug, but it wasn't for too long. But hey, everything that happened in Las Vegas happened for a reason. And we're back here in San Diego just in enough time to hear the bracket selection show, the March Madness selection show. I was gathered together with some of the guys. I know you were just getting off the road back from Las Vegas. We were sweating it out. Everybody on social media, all over X and Facebook and the chat rooms, the boards, between our chat messages with Mike and, peace out to Mike. Hopefully rejoin with him later on this week, maybe tomorrow. And we're all sweating it out, right? Are we going to make the NCAA tournament? Are we going to go to the NIT? Should we turn the NIT down if we get invited? A lot of different possibilities. I think cooler heads prevailed, though. And you know what? The selection committee didn't make us wait that long in the show, which was really cool. All right. I mean, I don't know how you felt about that, but it came off very early, Fiend. How'd you feel when you saw our name in the first four in against North Carolina?
I was absolutely relieved. I mean, if they had made us wait to the last bracket, I would have just been on pins and needles. That would have been awful. Just wondering, God, are we going to be on that last 11 seed line? Because everyone, we pretty much figured we were going to be an 11 seed, first four in. That's what most of the bracketologists had us, as. But to come to find out that we were only I think 2 lines from the bottom. And had there been a couple of bid stealers today, we would have been left out, just like another team was in the Mountain West. So, yeah, to have that name called right away was like a big sigh of relief, and then I could just enjoy the rest of the show.
Little anticlimactic, right? Because I think we were all freaking out. I think everybody was on pins and needles, even though it came off the board, however you want to phrase it. But North Carolina, you know what I mean? That's a name that I know. I was watching their game against Duke. What was it? I think they played on Friday. And we were watching that together there at New York. They almost beat Duke. So I know there's a lot we're going to get into with this matchup. But, in the conference tournament, Fiend, anything can happen. Of course, we know Duke was without their star. But, anything could happen in these conference tournaments. And now that we're in the NCAAs, the madness is only going to get crazier. It's only going to get more unpredictable, especially in these first, play-in games, the first round of the tournament. But North Carolina, man, that's a blue blood. I don't care what kind of year they were having up to this point. It's exciting to play a blue blood no matter what. But, okay. Now, we'll get into how fortunate we are to get into this thing. But tell me about North Carolina, dude, because, we saw that game against Duke. They should have tied it up if it wasn't for that lane violation, just like one of the most wild lane violations you would see. But North Carolina, our opponent, this isn't the North Carolina of Michael Jordan's day, aging myself a little bit. Not even of Antoine Jameson's day. So, what do you think about this opponent on the peripheral level?
I think that they have a lot of talent. I don't think they've really achieved much on the team level. But they certainly have talent. There's, been some talk about Hubert Davis maybe being on the hot seat, and because it's UNC. It's the standard is playing in the Final Four. The standard is playing for national championships. And when you have your rival Duke ranked as a number 1 seed, right, and you're barely making it in the tournament, that's a little embarrassing, right, for a team with that pedigree, with that pride. They are a blue blood. Kansas, Duke, North Carolina. You could probably add Connecticut to that conversation with all of the titles that they've won. So yeah, it's going to be a great game. Just to play a blue blood. I know it's not that, they're not playing at the standard that they have in the past, but just the name itself, it's exciting. It's exciting, and I think it's kind of on par with, when I went to the NIL event and seeing us getting matched up with Houston and Creighton and Alabama's there, and all these big time college basketball programs. And so I'm excited, and I think these kids are really excited too. They're tired of playing these Mountain West teams. They're sick and tired of it. They had to play 20 of them this year. They want to get back to playing like these teams that they played in the non-conference. And so I think it's going to energize them, especially if we get Goon back.
Dude, what a great point on that. What a great point. Thank you, Quinn. Our good buddy Quinn Thomas. Once again, he says, I told Fiend all week y'all would make the tournament. And he sure did. He sure did. I agree with you, Fiend. Like, the Mountain West is a grind. The travel, the teams that don't have the same cachet media-wise or historically-wise. You see that North Carolina up there. You're like, okay. You saw the Houston, like you said, at the NIL tournament, the Creightons of the world. And, it doesn't matter how you finish the season off. This is a shot in the arm. We're excited for this matchup against North Carolina. Of course, Quinn down there in that side of the country knows all about Tobacco Road and all that stuff. So thanks again, Quinn. We're very fortunate to make the tournament, Quinn. But I think cooler heads prevailed in when it came to looking at the Aztecs. Let's talk about ourselves a little bit. The Aztecs finished the season 4th in the Mountain West in the seedings, right at the tournament. We knew we had to play Boise for a 3rd time. Already beat them 2 times this season, pretty handily as well. It wasn't like we were skating by. We were dominating them on the boards pretty much in that first game, and in the second game at home, it wasn't even close. A 3rd time. Now this time was without Magoon. The Aztecs knew they were going to have to go the Mountain West tournament Dutcher made it clear he was going to suit him up. I believe that day before or that night before, rumblings were coming out. Hey, he's going to suit up. He's going to suit up. At least that's the rumblings we were getting. So knowing that he was good to go in the Mountain West tournament, I think he played the hand correctly. In hindsight, right, you could look back and you say, Dutch, he could have played Goon against Boise. I think we had enough to beat Boise without him. It just wasn't our night. It wasn't our day. Now, not having Mugun obviously creates a lot of headaches, a lot of mismatches. We saw it. But, let's focus in on this Boise game really quick just to turn the page and put a button on the tournament and the season. I mean, they basically did something that nobody expected. They launched 43 pointers, and it was basically like, we're just going to let it fly and out rebound you. And Dutch said it in the post game that, it wasn't something I don't think anybody was expecting. But with Mugun out, it proved to be a pretty good strategy, unfortunately. But I think Dutch played his hand right. I mean, obviously, when you have the out-of-conference resume that we did, it was a gamble. We didn't win all three against Boise, but that ended up being that ended up being the game that, we could essentially gamble on, knowing that we've beaten them twice already. And then Boise beat New Mexico, man. Oh, that one hurt New Mexico. I think that really set them back. What were your thoughts on Dutch's gamble, how the Mountain West tournament wrapped up, and obviously how it what kind of taste did it leave in your mouth or in your collective thinking about it?
Well, let's give a shout out to all the prior teams, players who have given us 3 games in 3 days, whether they won the tournament title or not, allowing us fans to go to Vegas, enjoy 3 games to watch. We are spoiled. And I think we took that for granted. I know I've been there since 2016. So 10 years straight, we've either been in the finals or we got knocked out in 2017 in the semifinals. But we played 3 games because that 2017 team, we played a playing game. So got to see 3 games. So only getting to see 1 game this time and then losing. That was a really disappointing trip as far as just going to Vegas, right? I mean, it just wasn't the same when
we didn't know what to do with ourselves.
Exactly. We'd never been in that situation, right? So we don't know how to handle it. It's new to us. I mean, teams like Boise, teams like Colorado State, they get bounced all the time. UNLV hasn't been out of the quarterfinals in like 10, 11 years, right? And they've had 4 or 5 coaching changes in that time. So that was that was really disappointed. I felt like we played really well in the first half. Boise fought. Every time we made a run, we were up like 11. They'd hit a big 3. And I think they cut it to 5 at halftime. But the second half, that drought of 9 minutes to end the game, all the missed free throws, we could not box out to save our life. We didn't box out. That to me was the biggest issue with the performance, was sort of the lack of putting a body on a body, because Boise was sending their guys to the boards. That was their strategy. Launch a 3, crash the boards. And we had guys that were just, and this has been an Achilles heel for us all season. We watched the ball go up in the air. Instead of locating a player to put on your back to box them out, so that if they go up for the rebound, they're going to foul you, right? We just stand side by side with them, and then they out muscle us and get the rebound. So that was really troubling, and it has been all year. I'm not saying across the board every player does that. I'm not going to call out players on this podcast for it, but there are guys that just the fundamentals of their rebounding technique are atrocious, and they don't box out. Basically, I can take rebounds when they go real long, and you're going to get those. When you take threes, you're going to get long rebounds. But just not putting on a body and locating, crashers on the board, that was really frustrating. That needs to change against North Carolina, because we cannot have North Carolina killing us on the offensive boards like that. That needs to be a point of emphasis. And that's the sad thing you mentioned. Dutcher put that on the board of what they needed to do. But then it comes down to technique and fundamentals, and some of the guys just don't have it. They really need to work on that in the off season. But hats off to Boise. That was a great strategy. It was a big gamble, but it paid off for them. They didn't shoot a great percentage, but they shot enough of them that they capitalized on the threes, and then the ones that they didn't, they were able to get enough offensive rebounds, and then we just Boyd was pretty much our show on offense. No one else really contributed, much. So, overall, yeah, pretty disappointing performance. We easily could have won that game.
Yeah. I think that's the troubling part to me. I know we're all very excited to make the dance. Nothing can take that away. Just to be in the dance, have the opportunity. But you cannot gloss over the way that things ended on Thursday. And like you said, I mean, the board, what was it, 18-2 offensive boards they gave up now, like to Boise. I'm sure there's a schematic behind that, all their guys being able to launch threes, but they didn't make many of them. They just cleaned up the boards. But offensively, you can't you can use the offensive rebounding stat and make like, okay, that's the generalization, the simplification of the game. That's how we lost. Right. Okay. But that 9-minute mark of no offense, I mean, you can't gloss that over, man. I mean, there's nothing you can say that's going to, like, compared to the offensive rebounding, right? That's kind of low-hanging fruit. Like, what stopped you from scoring a bucket in 9 minutes? Like, there's no excuse for that. Not at this time, not at this level. But hey, to beat a team 3 times, I get it. Very, 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 very difficult. Now, where that offense is going to come from, I mean, your guess is as good as mine, man. I mean, we talked about the out-of-conference resume, beating Houston, beating Creighton. I mean, they were matching up with those guys bucket for bucket, being aggressive, playing with caution to the wind. You were there. I was there in Vegas watching those games in November, and what they did in those months really served them big time for March. But let's not play around. That is not the same team that we're seeing right now, with Goon or without Goon. And it's going to help, but to what extent is Magoon going to be able to contribute as well? I mean, you got to be real. One thing, and I want to thank Andy for shooting me this stat that, originally I'm just seeing in credit to the Aztecs All In pod. Those guys do a wonderful job on what they do. Very good production for sure. According to Ziegler, for 45 minutes, Coach Dutcher and his staff thought they were playing Wednesday and flying out Tuesday for this opening play-in game. They later learned that they actually have to fly out Monday, so tomorrow morning, to make it in time for a mandatory open practice. So apparently no chance for a private practice before game time. I mean, this is wild. And this is what the play-in game craziness does. This is what a tournament scenario does. Mountain West tournament, okay, you had some time to prepare. You're playing against a team that you know what they do. Now it's a whole new animal. There's no turnaround time. They got to leave first thing in the morning and play on what was it? Tuesday? Whew. This is not going to be easy. I don't care how bad North Carolina looks on paper. You obviously know you're getting highly recruited players at UNC. Like, these are not pushovers. These are some physical dudes. And we're going to get everything they got. You think they want to lose to San Diego State? Not at all. Yes, we made the natty, but we are not a blue blood. We are not a blue blood. So they are going to bring everything they got. And like you said, man, rebounding. with Magoon in there, I hope they rebound better. I don't think North Carolina can launch the threes. They are a pretty bad 3-point shooting team, probably along the lines percentage wise as us from what I've seen. So I don't think that they're going to be launching them. But hey, if it worked for Boise, maybe that's a scenario that they want to take on.
Yeah. The travel situation, it sucks. It's a quick turnaround. The NCAA is the one they're coordinating all this, right? They do the planes and the hotel reservations, everything. I don't think SDSU has anything to do with coordinating. It's all done by the NCAA. So you're kind of at the mercy of them when they, pick you up and take you to the venue, and certainly not a lot of time to turn around and watch tape on North Carolina. I'm sure they probably, if they had, if they thought they were going to play in that play-in game, that maybe they looked at some of those teams that were, at least I'm hoping that they scouted some of those teams that were also on the bubble, just to kind of familiarize themselves, with what they do and kind of come up with a little bit of a game plan. So, but yeah, quick turnaround, not much preparation. But you just got to deal with it. And so, and North Carolina doesn't have any advantage either. Right? They don't know us, just like we don't know them. Right? So, I don't think anyone has a big advantage there. But they're not a really tall North Carolina team. They're a little different than most of the Carolina teams. Usually, you get guys that are like 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". They've got like a 7-footer usually under the rim. They don't have that this year. They've got, I think, their center's like 6'8", 6'9". They have small guards, just like we do. I mean, it's almost like the same personnel, putting them on the floor. You're right. They don't shoot the 3-ball great. They're pretty efficient offensive team, and they're quick. Their guards can get downhill, and they will share the basketball too. So it's going to be interesting matchup with them. I mean, their metrics are better than ours, especially on the offensive end. But we also haven't had Goon for how many games now? 6, 7, 8 games. I don't know how many. So
I think I want to say 3-3 without him.
3-3 without him.
Yeah.
So getting him back is going to be huge, especially contesting at the rim. If he's able to go. I don't know. They said he's available. What does that mean? Dutcher didn't say he will play, right? He was available versus Boise, but he didn't play. So I don't know how much time he's going to play. I don't know how much impact, how much that impacts the game, right? So you kind of got to prepare that maybe he's not going to get a ton of minutes, and your other guys are going to have to step up. So you guys like JCJ and Miles Heide and Farrell Compton, they're going to have better tournaments than they had, better game than they had against Boise, certainly. But I think these guys will be jacked up to play. Like I said, playing a blue blood, they're going to be jacked up and really kind of elevate their game. That's what we do. We've been doing it all season. That's why our metrics are bad. We play down to our competition, and we play up when the competition is up. And I'm sure that just seeing that name, North Carolina, they want to get a win against them.
Just seeing that name, North Carolina. Once again, Quinn, thank you so much. He says Fiend hates the Mountain West.
I do.
Absolutely.
I do. Yeah. I major hate for the Mountain West, especially the BS that took place where we had to play a 20-game conference schedule where you have so many landmines that we almost stepped on, right? Air Force, San Jose, Wyoming. I mean, all these just crappy teams that we almost lost to. Like I said, because guys just don't get up for them. And so it's not like the SEC, Quinn's team, Auburn, what they get, like 14 teams in the tournament? It's ridiculous. Every game that they play is like a quad 1 game. It's like that you don't really need a great out of conference schedule when you're playing in that league. So I don't know. I'm excited to get out of the Mountain West. I'm excited to be done with the Mountain West schedule for this year, and then let's just see how it goes. Every year there's one team that gets in the tournament that shouldn't have, like according to Bracket Matrix. Last year it was Virginia. They got absolutely stomped by Colorado State. The year before it was Nevada. They got absolutely stomped by Arizona State. So Colorado State, Arizona State. And this year it's North Carolina was the team I think that a lot of people thought shouldn't have been in it. And come on. The athletic director is the head of the NCAA tournament committee.
I've had several people texting me that today.
Yeah,
like,
that's a little. that seems like a conflict of interest. Oh, but I left the room. I wasn't a part of that conversation. Dude, you're the head of the committee, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot of influence on the other committee members. I'm sure. One thing I do want to highlight and kind of piggybacking off talking about Mountain West play and all that stuff and kind of getting up for those games or playing down to the competition. Like these are all dynamics that come with a very young team. Got to give this coaching staff their flowers right now, handling one of the youngest teams that they've really ever have had to deal with. Now these are incredibly talented young players, but across the board, you do got to point that out. The youth is something we've talked about all season long in negative terms, right? It's kind of like, man, the youth struggles, the growing pains, the ups and downs, the having to get them up or down, all that stuff. But hey, they weathered through it. I think we touched on it last episode before we got into the Boise game. I didn't think we would have that type of performance against Boise, but I think we were a little positive on, hey, this is a young team. Like they've picked up right where they left off last year, despite, as you guys heard Dutcher saying, losing 90% of the scoring, not having Reese Waters, and then of course Magoon down the stretch. So when you play against a North Carolina, like what you're saying, who are going through their struggles, who probably shouldn't even be here in this tournament, it really makes you recognize the job that Coach Dutch and staff has done all season long, weathering through the storms. But I'm with you, man. We got to get out of this garbage West Conference, as JK says. So, hey, man. Larry Joe says playing in one of the play-in games means all eyes will be on you nationwide. That's a great point. And, having North Carolina in there, a blue blood, a national brand, a huge brand, there's only, 2 playing games per day, right? So everybody's going to be watching. I think they put these big name brands in these playing games to get those eyeballs on the TV sets because, before it was kind of like, okay, you get these smaller teams that may be on the bubble and then nobody's really paying attention. It's a playing game. In Dayton, This one I think everybody's going to be paying attention to. We know that for sure, so.
Well, with brackets too, and there's a chance that these 11 seeds maybe they get to a Sweet 16, right, and they make a run. Your 16 seeds that are playing games, they're going to get stomped in the next round, by and large. Yeah. But yeah, so but the 11 seeds are more exciting to watch when they're competitive games. Obviously, a couple of the games have not been so competitive, and hopefully we are not on that losing end. This year, our record against the ACC has not been very good over the years. Buddy Buckets, Duke, North Carolina State, we have not done very well against the ACC. So, but this is a weak ACC league this year. What they only got, I think, 4 teams in the tournament, just like us. So, and they have a lot of really bad teams at the bottom, kind of like we do. We've got some really bad ones, but they have a lot of bad teams, and that's why they only got 4 teams in. So
Okay. Well, you know what, guys? Let's switch gears really quick before we get back into this matchup with North Carolina. Guys, gotta play the fight song just a little bit. Just a little bit. As you guys know, we were there Wednesday night to watch the women's team win the Mountain West Championship. They won. They won it all on Wednesday night. I was there with Mike. We got to witness the triple overtime thriller over Wyoming. The ladies put it down. The first Mountain West Championship since I want to say 2013. And so just want to say a big congratulations to Coach Stacy, Terry Hudson, of course, all her staff. The Aztecs went 25-9 this season. They were also a 4 seed like the men's program. And they're going dancing too. They're going dancing. They're going to be playing LSU in the bracket. And very exciting. That was an amazing game. If you guys weren't there early, I know it was a decent crowd, but man, it was you talk about getting blood pumping. We were there for the whole game, and just, man, the fight and determination those ladies showed in beating Wyoming, who was like relentless, just kept forcing overtime. Can't say it enough for the women. They put it down. They're going to be in the big dance. Both men's and women's teams in the dance. That's very cool. And UCSD too, men's and women's for first year. So I'm not going to ignore that. I'm not going to ignore that. But shout out to Coach Stacy. I know that Veronica Sheffy, she got the MVP. Really, really gutsy performance. And she got the clutch baskets towards the end and free throws. Free throws. Go figure, man. Close it out with some free throws. So the team is fun to watch. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. LSU is like a 3 seed. They're a top team. I mean, LSU is a factory. I think Coach Stacy has some experience coaching there. I think it was an assistant back in her time, I believe. So she'll be ready. She'll have the girls ready. And they're a well-rounded team. I mean, they got some size, they got some shooters, they got some girls that can score in the paint. Villalobos, when she gets hot, like she's really tough to stop. So expecting a fight. We'll see how they'll match up, but I'm expecting a fight for sure.
Definitely. I mean, those matchups are tough in the women's tournament because the higher seeds get basically a home game because it's going to be played in Baton Rouge. Mm-hmm. So it's LSU's home arena, so it's tough matchup. We'll see. Hey, they're playing with house money, right? They got to the dance, they won the championship, which was an epic game. I mean, 3 overtimes to beat Wyoming. I was packing to get ready to go for Vegas, and I was so mad because it was after 10 o'clock. I'm like, I gotta pack. And I'm packing in between overtimes and then rushing out to watch the game. But yeah, I wish I had left a day earlier and been there at that game. You guys, were real lucky to be there and experience that and see us cut down some nets. And but yeah, real proud of the ladies. What a great year. They Stacy, Terry Hudson, I think her job was kind of tenuous a couple of years back, right? Like, because she wasn't really having a whole lot of success, right? And was she the coach after Burns?
Yes,
like right after Burns. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And my Beth Burns was, she won a couple of Mountain West championships and had been to the tournament and several times, but what she's done these last couple of years, being able to climb the mountain, get over that hump against UNLV finally after losing in the finals last year, and then to seize the opportunity and to win that championship, I'd say her job's pretty secure now. And just amazing show of resilience and it's good on the athletic directors, and the athletic department for not dismissing her and keeping her on staff and trusting in the process, and seeing the fruits of the labor. And I think also having them with the Mesa Foundation has been very helpful too. That's been an asset to them. And so they're able to go out and recruit, some players and get good talent, and they're really exciting to watch. I'm really looking forward to seeing not only how they play against LSU, but just in the future. I mean, I think they're going to start to get more people, eyes, fans out to games. And I mean, it's exciting. I hope they're a force to be reckoned with next year and moving into the new Pac-12.
Well, I see everybody in the chat. They're thinking this women's team has a better chance than the men's team this year. They are well rounded and got some shooters. I love the freshman. I want to say her name, Pangilinan. I want to say that hopefully correctly, but boy, she's a baller. She's got such great quickness and really nice. Panganiban. And shout out to Fembone. I wanted to have her talk a little bit. We were out there celebrating the big women's championship. She says before Coach Stacy was Barb Smith and Jim Tomey, and then Coach Stacy. So thank you for correcting me on that. One of the authorities on Aztec women's basketball, Sarah. Thank you so much. JK says LSU does go through some cold shooting droughts, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on and hope for against SDSU. Really good insight there. Thank you, man. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the women. Let's hope that they do a little something.
I believe that's going to be next Saturday. They're playing, so they got a little bit of time
22nd.
off to prepare and get ready for that matchup in Baton Rouge.
All right. Well, guys, thank you guys for joining. The men's team is going to be playing against North Carolina. What else we got on North Carolina? Let's get into the chat a little bit because I know everybody's excited talking about what's been going on this past week. It was a tough week losing to Boise, but what's the word on Boise, man? They're skipping the NIT. Is that what you officially heard, Fiend?
I don't think there's really been anything that's come out of their camp that they're not on the NIT list. San Jose State is though. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of teams that have declined the offer. The teams that were on the bubble that got left out, Ohio State, Indiana, I think both of them have said we're not going to go to any postseason tournaments this year. I don't know about West Virginia. There's also that Crown tournament in Vegas. I think has some NIL money involved in that tournament. So that should be announced tomorrow. Maybe they're headed back to Vegas for that, but they're definitely not playing in the NIT.
It's because their fans were chanting it, you think? They just don't want to do the NIT again.
They did. They said at the last home game, they said NIT will be back in 1 week. So
tough. Potato tears came eventually, no matter what. And you know what? I was surprised they beat New Mexico, but hey, New Mexico fans represented. Can't lie. When they're good, they represent.
They were everywhere in Vegas. I mean, I was really impressed. Being over at New York, I think that was their hotel that they were staying at, so there were just tons of Lobo fans. But I was over by Planet Hollywood, and there were a ton over there too. They were everywhere on the Strip. So shout out to them. They really did show out. It definitely was Pit West there. I'll give them that credit. Yeah, no, they definitely showed up for that tournament. We had pretty good representation for one day, right? We didn't get a chance to see what our crowd would look like for a semifinal or final. Usually we get more and more as a advance, but always next year, right? Just let it happen again.
Very cool to see UCSD in the bracket. They've got a tough one against Michigan, man. That's going to be they got a chance, but Michigan's playing some good ball. Of course, they are the Big Ten champions.
They are. I see that some people picking them as an upset. So they could be an upset pick. They're playing really good basketball right now. They have just a solid team and play great as a team. Will they be able to match up with a Michigan team that's really long as a big center? I don't know. The size may be a little maybe I don't know if it'll be overwhelming for them, but not something that they're used to playing in the Big West. And then Colorado State, you got to give your props to Colorado State. They're playing like one of the best teams in the country right now. If you look at the stats for like the last month or even the last couple of weeks, Colorado State's right up there, top 10 in the country. So if they continue to play like that, like a top 10 team, even though they're a 12 seed, I forget who they're playing.
It's up on the screen right now. They got Memphis.
Oh, Memphis.
12 against 5.
Memphis, I mean, they won the American but they have a player that's injured. They don't know if they're going to be back for the tournament, but Colorado State, they are a team. If they play like they've played and they just ride this wave, they could get to a Sweet 16. Heck, they could get to an Elite 8, possibly even a Final 4 if they played that dominant. I mean, they dominated the competition. Let's just face it.
Yeah.
They dominated the competition. I've never seen a team run through the Mountain West tournament like they did.
It was shocking. It was a little surprising. I know they earned the 2 seed. Nick Clifford just absolutely playing like a monster right now. He's really getting to the lane, picking his shots, and physically, I mean, he's playing very strong and like composed within himself. I don't know how to describe it, but they just absolutely ran Boise. Boise had nothing left in the gas tank.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big improvement for Colorado State has been their defense. Yeah. Shout out Tim Shelton on their staff, right? Bringing that Aztec defense over to Colorado State. That has been a huge difference for them. I mean, everyone knew that they're a very good 3-point shooting team. They're very efficient. On the offensive end, it's always been the defense that like they would, get in these shootout games. And now they're just blowing out teams because they're hitting all these threes and then the other team can't hit a bucket and they're clearing all the rebounds. So I'm really impressed with them. We'll see if they can carry that momentum into the NCAA tournament. We'll see how far they can go.
Don't think I really want to get into New Mexico's matchup, but they got a tough one. They've got a really tough one. Sorry.
Who are they
sorry
playing
to the
again?
Lobos in the chat. Sorry to the Lobos.
Who are they playing again?
In the chat. Where was it at? I had it earlier. They are playing up against. I think I lost it. Where are they? Marquette. Shaka Smart. His Marquette Golden Eagles.
Marquette is one of those teams that they started out, I think, really hot, right? And I don't think they're as good as they were beginning of the season. So, New Mexico might be catching them at a good time. Mm-hmm. Plus, you have a fantastic matchup at the guard position with 2 elite point guards in Donovan Dent and who's the guy? Cam Jones, I think is his name. And so that's going to be really, really exciting. I think they got a shot. I give them a shot. We'll see.
Always got a shot. Always got a shot when you got Dent out there. I mean, he's going to be a chance. Larry Joe says, "What? We have to win the Mountain West season and tournament next year, right? It's our final year in the conference. We have to leave our mark that we own this conference on our way out." I mean, okay. I mean, it would be nice. It would be really nice. It'd be a nice punctuation, a nice parting gift. But I wouldn't say necessarily. I know he might be a little facetious there, but I don't think so necessarily. I mean, San Diego State has proven to be the class of this conference, whether they win the regular season or the tournament. What they've been able to do over this stretch of especially the last, 15
the most consistent.
years.
I would say the most consistent because there's teams that are up and play really, really, really well, and then they're down for a few years. New Mexico is an example of that, right? Where they've had some great years and then they had some down years and now they're up again. San Diego State's been pretty consistent the entire time. So I could say that we are probably the class. Maybe, I mean, if you're looking over a period of maybe 10 10, 15 years in the conference. But if you're looking over the last 2 years, then you'd have to go with, probably New Mexico.
Yeah, but 2 years. I mean, you don't judge
It's
anything
not-
off
yeah.
of 2 years. Like 2
Right.
years is, I mean, that's a flash in the pan. New Mexico's they've done well, but they haven't done anything in the postseason. So I mean, whether consistency or not, like I mean, just going to the Natty alone. I mean, the brand is
Yeah,
on such a far
exactly.
level, far ahead of anybody else in the
Yeah.
Mountain West. And they've done it, without having to win the regular season at times, or going to the Sweet 16 or what have you. So it'd be nice. It'd be nice. Don't get me wrong. I would love to be able to stick it in everybody's face and flex the rings. But hey, to me, it's all about this time, tournament time. What you do now is what people are going to remember and what's going to last. Let's see. What else? That was a good one, though. I agree. That's a really good point. Good question. Oh, let's see. Anything else you want to talk about this North Carolina game? I know we say SDSU Kings of the Castle. Let's see.
Well, I think that the Mountain West next year could look a lot different as far as like the coaching changes. It could, there's Medved's been rumored to be tied to Minnesota. He's a Minnesota grad. So I could see him taking over that program. Wouldn't shock me at all. Patino left New Mexico for a bigger program. The guy at Utah State, Calhoun, he's only been there a year, but Sprinkle was there a year last year, and then he bailed. So it could look a lot different. I mean, you don't like to lose good coaches because it makes the league more competitive, and you don't want too many teams like in a rebuilding mode, right? Obviously, Kruger, he lost his job, so now UNLV has a vacancy. I don't know who they're targeting, but it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of new coaches next year in the Mountain West. At least it seems that way.
If you get that much turnover, and Aztecs are getting a lot back, then I think I could side with Larry Joe. What you're saying, like you gotta flex on people and show, okay, you're the class.
Not everyone's going to pull a Utah State every year.
No.
Pull
And like how
rabbit out of a hat.
And it's like, how long do you expect that to ride? Like that's just wild. They got to have some kind of consistency there. I know Andrew's asking any thoughts on Ole Miss. If we get there as fans, we can do that, right? We can project. We can kind of say, okay, if we get past North Carolina. I don't know much about Ole Miss ball. I'll be honest with you. Chris Beard is the coach there, right? And we're talking about somebody great coach. He's been able to battle through his off the court issues, going back to his time, Texas Tech and Texas, right? He got his big opportunity and got into some trouble, but here he is at Ole Miss. They took a risk on him, and man, he's got they're seniors, that's for sure. 9 players. I think he's got like 9 seniors on that team. Are you kidding me? Good Lord.
Yeah, and they played Auburn really tough in that quarterfinal game. I mean, Auburn had to scratch and claw to pull that out. So that was a tough game. They have a great point guard in Sean Padula, 6'1", averages like 15 points a game. So I'm not going to get too much into it. We got to get past North Carolina first. But the SEC is battle tested, right? Mm-hmm. All those teams have played. I mean, when you're playing night in, night out, all of those teams, 14 of them that got in the tournament, you're battle tested. And I don't think we're tested on that level. CSU played it was against Ole Miss beginning of the season. Now, CSU was a totally different team back then. They're not nearly as good as they are now, especially on the defensive end. But they played a away game. It wasn't in Oxford, Mississippi. It was like in a place near Memphis, which is a very short drive from Mississippi's campus. But they beat CSU. So that's the only real comp I think that we have as far as the team that we've played, that they have beaten. But yeah, I'm just not going to get into it right now. I want to get past North Carolina first, and then maybe we can come back on and talk about it.
Yeah, no, you don't want to have any fun with the bracket projected matchups because you realize we could play UCSD down the line or Auburn as well down the line. I think not until maybe the Elite Eight. I think that's kind of
Right.
where the two sides.
And it would be in Atlanta too, the South bracket.
How wild would that be against UCSD? I think Auburn. I was thinking we were going to be closer to Auburn's, somewhere in that bracket, just because of storylines, or Michigan, right? But okay, I'm just happy to be in. Just happy to be in.
Well, we're not in Kentucky's bracket, right? So I think Lamont was the only one who left the program that is still dancing. Obviously, Micah Parrish his season is over at Ohio State. Saunders, when he got bounced from the ACC tournament, his season's over. So that would have been interesting playing Kentucky, but not going to happen. You just play the teams that you're given. So focusing in on North Carolina and trying to figure out who is the real Jordan school.
Clash of the Jordan brand.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego State has it. We've had it for a little while now. Now we get to play in the Jumpman original. Got to have Kawhi and Mike put a little wager on this thing, man. Gotta get something out there, or at least Kenny Smith. Come on, Kenny. Did he pick us in the Final Four back 2 years ago? I don't think so, man. I think he picked against us, didn't he? I think Chuck was the only one.
I think Chuck was, Barkley was the only one, right? So.
Come on, the Jet, Kenny the Jet. Oh man. Well, you let's touch on that just a quick moment. You talk about former players that are still dancing. Lamont, I mean, like you said, he might be injured, right? He might not be able to play.
That's the thing. I'm not sure even Lamont if he'll play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his shoulder is he's got an injury. I don't even know if he'll play in the tournament, honestly. Which it just your heart breaks for him. I mean, because that's why he came back for a senior year. Albeit it's at a different school, but still, you don't want to see a guy go out injured, at the end of his career. So hopefully he can get back. I don't know though. It didn't look too good from what the coach was saying after the game. I guess he had like an MRI at halftime of, one of the SEC tournament games. And I think it was SEC, or it might have been right before the SEC tournament. But anyway, either way, I'm not sure he's going to be playing.
And then, of course, CBM at Auburn, just a outstanding player for the Tigers down there. Let's see. I know there's some chatter about Goon. The tweet that was put out there by one Geoff Grammer, I believe, kind of putting it out there as far as a media member saying Texas Tech, all that stuff. I know some people took some offense to it. You were one, Fiend. I think you were right for a media member to put something out there. It's distasteful. But if you know anything about Grammer's tweets, I mean, he's a very snarky puppy. He likes to put stuff out there to rock the boat and gain some traction. I know in the chat, people are saying, hey, Guath is only going to keep getting better. I think the injury, it's going to be interesting to see how that dictates how Dutch uses him against North Carolina, right? We're going to need him. We're going to need him for sure at some point in the game. How many minutes, how effective is he going to be against this team? I think you got to put him out there, right? Like what you're saying, Fiend, if they're not a bigger team, if they're not a tall team that you're used to seeing from an SEC squad, he should make a big difference out there, but it remains to be seen. I think Josh said he heard some rumblings about how he was practicing full bore. Okay. All right. That's a great sign. We'll see. I don't know about that score prediction part, but
I don't think Dutch is going to put him out there if he feels like he's not ready and there's a chance that he's going to re-injure the knee. I mean, there's always that risk, right? But you don't want to put a guy who's not 100% healthy out there especially when it's a knee injury. So I don't think, like we said this before, Dutch is not going to sacrifice short-term success for a long-term injury to someone, and damage to someone's career. So he's only going to be playing if he's ready to go and healthy.
Okay. All right. Well, we're winding down to the end of this episode. We got 24-hour turnaround time. We might have to get some thoughts from Mike tomorrow night. See what the other side of the pod has to think about this. But Fiend, okay, I got with me here. I got with me a little bit of a magic lamp. And if you guys know anything about these magic lamps, you rub them and your wishes come true. A genie comes out and gives you the wish, the desires of your heart. So Fiend, if I'm rubbing this magic lamp and a genie were to come out, what would be one thing you ask from the genie that the Aztecs do in order to win this game? Like, what's that one, at least one thing the Aztecs are going to need in order to beat North Carolina on Tuesday? Rub the lamp, Fiend. Rub the lamp.
If I tell you it though, I'm not. Maybe that I don't know. Is it like a fortune cookie where I tell you it and it doesn't come true? I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say with this team, let's clean up what happened against Boise and let's win the battle on the boards against North Carolina. Let's win that battle. Let's beat them on the boards. Control the boards. Don't give them second chances. When we miss shots, crashing the boards too, so that we can get second chance opportunities. That's a big one for me because that just left such a bad taste in my mouth from the tournament, and a lot of that is just technique and effort, right? It's things that you are in your control. So that's my thing. If I could rub that lamp and have anything, let's win that battle on the boards. I think that gives us a great chance at winning.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. Gotta agree with that one. All right, Fiendstradamus. Hopefully we get that battle of the boards. It'll be all credit to the magic lamp, the magic Aztec lamp. Free throws. I think KS Silver Joker says free throws. I think it's more getting there. That's been the most thing, getting there. But I hear what you're saying. When you need them, you gotta have them. All right, Fiend. I know you got to be exhausted, man. Big travel day for you coming back from Nevada. Wasn't the Mountain West tournament that we all hoped for or expected, but you got to feel good. We're dancing officially. The Aztecs are in it, both men's and women's team. Yeah, man. Hey, we were at the Michael Jackson 1 show. We got all of our dancing out watching that show. Tremendous show, by the way, guys. If you're ever in Vegas, Mandalay Bay, Cirque du Soleil, MJ1. I was loving it. Of course, Mike, I don't think Mike was loving it as much as you were. I think he was
he said I talk too much, yeah. So
I'll have to get his side of the story. Gotta get his side of the story tomorrow. Anyways, appreciate you guys for all joining on the stream tonight. It's getting a little late, so we're gonna cut it, but tomorrow, hopefully, we might have to do this again. And if we gain a little bit more insight on this matchup, like we said, the team is going to be traveling first thing in the morning. So this is a whirlwind. The playing game, no time to sleep. It's time to get up and go and get to the party. And hopefully this team's ready to go wild because they got it in them. We've seen it. No score predictions just yet, guys. But hey, let's get this win. Oh, man. All right, guys, we'll address some more of your comments in the chat tomorrow. We want to thank you guys for joining. Until next time, sonsofmontezuma.com. Hopefully we might have a baseball episode this week as well. I think they've been turning some things around. So appreciate all you guys in the chat. We'll see you guys. Have a great night. Go Aztecs. Beat the Tar Heels.
Go Aztecs, beat the Tar Heels. What is a Tar Heel?
Good question. I'll have that answer tomorrow. See you guys. Have a great night.